Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about Soul Hackers 2, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because it seems like Soul Hackers is really taking a life of its own and becoming a brand new series, and I wanted to talk about what the differences kind of are with Soul Hackers and some of the other Make 10 games, because it seems like Soul Hackers kind of is becoming its own brand new thing, its own brand new series, which we do know that there was the game from 1997, and about 10 years ago they put that on the 3DS, but Soul Hackers, at least now, seems like it's going to be its own thing, and I wanted to talk about what the differences are with this game compared to some of the other ones, and just other Make 10 Atlus titles in general, because we have quite a few differences when it comes to this, and you could even say things that Atlus has never done before, or things we've never really seen within a JRPG. But let's go over some of the cool things about Soul Hackers 2, and that's why it's going to be different. And one of the different things I wanted to talk about is the fact that this is a female main character, but not only just a female main character, but it is one that you don't have a choice of. So, you know, Persona 3, you kind of had a choice to eventually do that, and some other Meg 10 games, you also just had a choice. And the same with Pokemon, you know, it started with a male character, and then you had some of the other ones later, but this is a female main character that you have to pick. You have no other choice. There's nothing about choosing which, you know, you want a boy or a girl, you have to have this female main character, which I think is different in an interesting way, that the fact that they did this, and also the fact that there is more story, I think, involved with this character, because this character also is more voice acted than past games. The fact that they are voice acted sort of helps with the story, I'd imagine. So we might have a more in-depth, you know, part with the story, which is interesting to have, because most typical pro tags when it comes to Meg 10 games, they're not voice acted. I mean, you kind of have Joker maybe grunting or saying some noises there, or a couple of different battle cues and stuff, but when it comes to our main pro tag for Soul Hackers 2, there's a lot more dialogue and voice acting actually going on. We've seen this from some of the gameplay and stuff that we have seen from not only just the trailers, but we have had a little bit of gameplay from this as well, and we see that there's a lot more involvement when it comes to the actual main character talking. So we have a big female, you know, pro tag that really seems like she's trying to, I guess, make her stance when it comes to this. This is kind of, I guess, going to be Atlus's way of having a main character who has to be female and has lots of voice acting with it, and has a lot of the character talking, maybe giving their opinions when it comes to the game. Which, you know, the silent protagonist is a pretty big main staple, at least when it comes to, like, JRPGs and whatnot. I mean, like I was talking about Pokemon and some other franchises, even like Final Fantasy with Cloud, who has like a decent bit of voice acting, but in some ways he's still almost, kind of in some ways, is pretty silent. You're supposed to live through them, but maybe Soul Hackers 2 is going to try and go towards a direction of giving more of a narrative and having the actual main character's input be there, which is good, and I like that, because it seems like our main protagonist here for Soul Hackers 2, you know, she very much seems to be putting herself in the place where, you know, I don't know if you're supposed to insert yourself there. She's kind of her own thing. She's not very just basic looking, like you might think about when you see Joker, or when you see, like, you know, Yu Murakami or whatever. She looks like she has, you know, a full-on design and has a part of the story, of course, I think that's going to be tied to her as well. And something else we also know about Soul Hackers 2, and some people like this and some kind of don't, and that is, this is from the director of the Tokyo Mirage Sessions games. Actually, two of the people that are involved with it were heavily involved with Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which a lot of people seem to have thought that SMT5's, you know, UI and its HUD and everything looked a lot like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which it kind of does, and they might have been using something similar with that, but for what we know of Soul Hackers 2, they might be incorporating even more of that there, but I don't necessarily think just because it's from the same type of people who made the Tokyo Mirage Sessions game, I don't know if that's necessarily justified in saying that Soul Hackers 2 is going to be that way, but we do know that it's going to be different. It's not going to be like SMT5, and I think that's pretty, you know, clear to show, at least when it comes to the direction the game might be heading. Not only just in terms of gameplay, but maybe also story as well could be very different. This might be a much different story than what we see from like a Persona game, or, you know, like a Shin Megami Tensei game, you know, a mainline title. I think because of the direction of the art direction the story and the gameplay all being different, which to me personally, I think this is what I actually like a lot. I know SMT5 was a little lackluster, I think, compared to some of the past titles, so Soul Hackers 2 having you know, differences with it, I think that should be something we embrace. I think a lot of people are seeing differences from the game from, yeah, of course, 1997. Like, of course it's going to be different, but I think it's good to sort of embrace the differences that we're getting for this, because we're able to experience something else. And like I said, this might just be, you know, the ATLUS game that just sort of goes in this direction, while we still have our mainline Persona games and our mainline Shin Megami Tensei games. And I mean, like I was saying, it with it being different, we know about there being the female main character you have to pick. You also have more voice acting with this character. This isn't a self-insert character, but there's also other things like game mechanics that we know are also different. I mean, we know about there not being a day and like sort of night cycle type of thing, which it's done differently when it comes to Shin Megami Tensei games like Nocturne and SMT3. You know, the moon cycle sort of changes with different stuff with that, which is a completely different thing compared to, you know, like how Persona uses it. Persona uses it for like different, you know, actions you could do during the day or the morning or the night, while Shin Megami Tensei has the different, you know, moon cycles depending on different, you know, things that you can have, like better demon fusions or better items and stuff like that. So it's done differently with those, but we know from this game, that's not included in this. There's no moonlight cycle, there's no day-night cycle. That's not a thing we have to worry about. I mean, the game might go into day or night, but it's not going to have a mechanic within the game. Same thing with a calendar system. As far as I can believe, there isn't going to be a calendar system in this, which, you know, SMT3 and Nocturne and whatnot, they didn't use that stuff, but it's not going to be like Persona where it has the actual calendar system. There's not specific dates where we have to get things done by a certain time, which is nice. I enjoy that. So, no day-night cycles, no calendar system. More of a fully voiced character, which I think is going to be incorporated into the story, which should give us a better narrative, I would assume. I don't think we'll have a ton of voice acting for the main character, just seeing as how, you know, ATLUS generally is with their games, but like I said, I am not like looking forward to seeing how having more voice acting for the main character plays into things. Like I said, mostly it's probably going to be a story element, but maybe we'll feel more attached to our main characters, because I know most of the same, you know, people who play these games, a lot of the main characters, you feel a little detached from them at times because you are playing through them. That's essentially the experience that you're having, while you end up becoming more attached to the characters around them. I know when it comes to every Persona game and most Meg 10 games, my favorite character generally isn't the main character. Maybe Nocturne is, just because he, you know, DVP just looks cool, he looks badass, I just like him, but there isn't a lot of characters to pick from in that game. But generally, I don't think the main character is one you sort of pick, but when it comes to Soul Hackers 2, I could very well see a lot of people maybe thinking that the main character is like their favorite pick. I don't know. So that has me excited for this. Having a little bit of a different story, having different gameplay mechanics, different characters, you know, just in terms of them changing things up, I think this is a good thing. Not only just for ATLUS, just JRPGs in general. It's good to see something different happening, because a lot of times I think these same formulas play again and again, not just ATLUS games, but also just JRPGs also. And the fact that Soul Hackers 2 is willing to try and do something a little bit different, which I think a lot of people were kind of angry about on Twitter and whatnot, I look forward to this. I think this is progress. I think this is how this kind of stuff is meant to be. We're seeing a protagonist be done a little bit differently. We're seeing, you know, the open world being done differently. Maybe a bigger connection to story. No day and night cycles. No calendar system. It's from the Tokyo Mirage Sessions people. You know, maybe that game was a little bit of a flop for some people, but Soul Hackers 2 could be a whole other experience. And I look forward to playing this. I guess this was maybe just sort of a hype video for Soul Hackers 2. Sorry if that's kind of what this seemed like it was, but I'm super excited for it, guys. Let me know what you feel about this game down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. I'll keep you all notified on all things ATLUS and whatnot in the future. Of course, we have that Persona 4 AU stuff coming out soon, the Arena Ultimax. I'll keep you up to date on that, keep you informed on that, and as always, thank you all so much for watching.